CP24, Toronto's breaking news. CP24 Money.
We are joined. Oh, we're on the air now. Oh, good. Look at that. We were just having a chat. Usually, Darren, Farah, Senior Wealth Advisor with Farah Wealth Management at Scotia McLeod, and I are at the TMX in two boxes side by side, but you're here in person, which is fantastic.
Nice to meet you face to face
as well. I'm happy you're here because I have so many questions. First of all, the TSX was down 4 or 5 weeks in a trade. Sorry, 4 or 5 trading days this week. What's happening there? Is this a trend? What's going on?
Yeah, in fact, you're right. The market was down most of the week this week, and today the TSX ended up at 13,377. That's only down 12 points, but the other trading days were a little more dramatic. What's going on? Well, what we've seen really is we've seen gold price down, commodities down, we've seen banks even down in Canada. And it's really part of a bigger picture. And the big picture is what's going on south of the border in the United States.
Okay.
What's going on there? Well, since the financial meltdown, the U.S. government's had its foot on the gas, stimulating the economy.
And we've been smug and thinking we're doing so well and things like that, but we haven't been putting as much into it as, well, they've needed to, though.
That's right. They've needed to. So they've been borrowing a lot of money and really putting the foot on the gas. But now what's happening is we're starting to see some signs of life in the United States. So now the government's going, perhaps we don't need to push the economy so far, so they're taking their foot off the gas. And anyone who's driven a car and been driving it hard, what happens when you take your foot off the gas?
Like,
it slows down right away. So that's what's happening in the market right now. It's pulling back as the U.S. government stops stimulating the economy.
Okay, now how is this impacting our dollar?
Well, so how has the U.S. government stimulated the economy? They've been borrowing money like crazy. Right? We've heard they're printing money until Canada runs out of trees. Well, all that borrowing affects your credit rating. As your credit rating gets worse, the U.S. dollar was declining. But if the U.S. government is going to stop borrowing money, that means that the U.S. dollar, in fact, may go higher versus the Canadian dollar, and we're starting to see that now.
Okay, we have about 10 seconds left, but I have to ask you this. Is there a historical precedent for what's happening right now?
A very good question. In fact, in 1982, the market, having crashed, recovered 94%.
Wow.
Then the government stopped stimulating the economy. The market then went down another 20%, quickly recovered and went through previous highs, and I think that's the pattern we're in.
Okay, well, we have to have you in more often. This was so interesting.
Love to be here.
Thank you very much, Darren.
Thanks, Farah.
It is 4:54, 23 degrees, and this is Toronto's breaking news. CP24, a surprise reunion of musical legends in London. When we come back, members of Pink Floyd perform together for the first time in years. Pretty cool,
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, exactly.